I don't know more about the My Little Pony subculture. For those of you just coming in, I'm just casually answering questions while we wait for everybody to come in, because I'm super tired and I don't know what else to do. Yes?
What was your writing schedule like
when I lived here? What was my writing schedule like? Well, I mean, two things were going on when I lived here. I'll talk more about this when everybody's here, but the first is that I was very stressed out because I hadn't published a book in 3.5 years, and I knew that a lot was riding on this book, and also because I felt this immense responsibility to the people who had inspired lots of it, and it was way overwhelming. And the second thing was that I did not know this at the time, but I had a terribly dysfunctional gallbladder that needed to be surgically removed. So the entire time I lived here, I was both really stressed out and extremely sick. Which turned out to be really good for the book, I think. But it sucked, and I don't recommend it. And I don't even know if it was worth it. But it was great for the book. I would write every morning usually in the Central Library, on the top floor. If any of you know the Central Library up by the train station, you go all the way up to the top floor. There's a restaurant there, and then also just these ridiculous views of the city. One of the great public institutions that I've ever been inside in my life is that library. So I wrote there almost every day, at least when I wasn't traveling. I traveled a lot around the Netherlands to meet school kids and do nerd fighter gatherings and lots of other stuff. So, but when I wasn't traveling, I'd work pretty much all day at the Central Library, and then I'd come home usually in the afternoons and work in the apartment at the SPAL I didn't say spooey. I said spow, and then you guys repeated back to me spow. I don't understand. Okay. Okay. Say it. Say spow.
Spow.
I don't hear it.
Spow.
I don't hear it, guys. You have an accent too. But yeah, so I would write at the, there's a little more room.
There's a place over there.
Raise your hand if you have a spot by you.
There's a spot over here.
So there is, yeah, I haven't gotten everyone here for 5
There's still more people by the door.
Well, but a lot of those people are coming to the 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I've now seen you on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean.
Me too.
Hey, look at that.
You're not alone. We might die. Can you guys hear?
It's very loud. It's
Is that an air conditioning system?
interesting.
I can't hear what you're saying because of the air conditioning system. Are the doors closed?
It's the air vent. It's not raining.
Okay. So in short, there's no way to make it quiet.
If they turn it off.
Okay, I suspect we don't want that.
We probably all die.
There's room right here.
There's still people waiting outside, so.
Yeah, but a lot of those people are 10 o'clock people. 5 or 6? No 8. You got the best seats there. Okay. Okay, I will just start. On 3. Actually, I'll just come, you know what? I'm going to go off stage. say is good morning, Hank. It's Tuesday. I know that it's not Tuesday, but it will be when he sees this. So, on 3, ready, 1. Wait, I gotta back up. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning, Hank. It's Tuesday.
Excellent work. Cough none. I apologize that it's so crowded, but if it makes you feel any better, it's going to be just as crowded at 10. So, for those of you who are a little late, I will go over the course of events this evening, which goes like this. I'm going to talk for a while, and I'm going to answer your questions, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why Amsterdam is so important to the book and why I'm back here and not traveling anywhere else in the world. And then we're going to do a signing. The signing will go extremely fast. Why? Because this place closes at midnight, and they're going to kick us out, and there's a whole group of people who look exactly like you, and they're just as nice as you are, who have to come in here at 10, so you have to clear out at 9:45. So, that is the summary of events. Also, there can be no rushing the stage, because this is a crowd control nightmare. Okay. I'm going to read very briefly about Hazel and Augustus coming in to Amsterdam. Here we go. I looked over at Augustus, who was staring out the window, and as we dipped down below the low-hung clouds, I straightened my back to see the Netherlands. The land seemed sunk into the ocean, little rectangles of grass surrounded on all sides by canals. We landed, in fact, parallel to a canal, like there were 2 runways, one for us and one for waterfowl. After getting our bags and clearing customs, we all piled into a taxi driven by this doughy bald guy who spoke perfect English, like better English than I do. The Hotel Philosophe, I said, and he said, "You're Americans?" "Yes," Mom said. "We're from Indiana." "Indiana," he said. "They steal the land from the Indians and leave the name, yes?" "Something like that," Mom said. The cabbie pulled out into traffic, and we headed toward a highway with lots of blue signs featuring double vowels. Oosthuizen, Harlem. Beside the highway, flat, empty land stretched for miles, interrupted by the occasional huge corporate headquarters. In short, Holland looked exactly like Indianapolis, but with smaller cars. "This is Amsterdam?" I asked the cab driver. "Yes and no," he said. "Amsterdam is like the rings of a tree. It gets older as you get closer to the center." It happened all at once. We exited the highway, and there were the row houses of my imagination leaning precariously toward canals, ubiquitous bicycles, and coffee shops advertising large smoking room. We drove over a canal, and from atop the bridge I could see dozens of houseboats moored along the water. It looked nothing like America. It looked like an old painting, but real, everything achingly idyllic in the morning light, and I thought about how wonderfully strange it would be to live in a place where almost everything has been built by the dead. "Are these houses very old?" asked my mom. "Many of the canal houses date from the Golden Age, the 17th century, he said. "Our city has a rich history, even though most tourists are only wanting to see the red light district." He paused. "Some tourists think Amsterdam is a city of sin, but in truth, it is a city of freedom. And in freedom, most people find sin." So that's a little bit of the Fault in Our Stars.